Welcome back, Warren. It's nice to have you back. So today we are dealing with the Those People series.
Yeah.
And today was part 1, titled Those Overly Needy People. This is such an exciting topic for me, Warren. First and foremost, what does it mean to be an overly needy person?
I'm very glad we're emphasizing the overly, because I think at some point we're all needy. So let's just make sure that we get it. So it's the overly needy people. Those are the people that either don't know that boundaries exist, or they might know that they exist, but they just don't respect them. So here's the line, like, I'm here to help. Everybody needs help and we're here to help each other, but there's a line somewhere. And the overly needy people, over every time and beyond, and they just extend that. So it's the person that drains you, the person that asks again and again and again. You're sort of like, okay, but the line was like way back, and they just keep going. And we get those people around us. It often comes from a place of insecurity, maybe even from a place of hurt, of pain, and they're desperate, and they see that they're allowed to continually ask, and in most cases they are allowed to, because people keep giving into it. So those people that do that, we sort of categorize them, and we all know, that person, they're going to ask again, they're going to need again. So it's how do we deal with them?
Listen, Warren, overly needy people are in constant need of relief. Relief today, relief tomorrow. In fact, relief from one second to the next. And so as givers, often towards them for whatever needs that they might have, how important is it for us to provide restoration as much as we offer relief?
Imagine having such a needy person that they literally need relief from the relief that you have already given. So we get it. Like, it can be quite bad. But those contrast, so relief and restoration. Relief is that temporary, it's the immediate, and it's very necessary. The restoration is the long term. It's a road that you're going to walk, and it's pouring in for not just days, it's years often. Neither is more important than the other. Both are equally as important, but the one is emphasized more than the other. So we're very happy to give relief because it's quick, it's seemingly painless, and it has immediate effect. So I want to help, I give you relief, I get the reward of being able to help, and I'm out. Whereas restoration is, I want to help, but this is going to take time. I'm pouring in and I'm not getting much back. So the one we tend to give a lot of, and the other is neglected. And that's why in the service we emphasized restoration a lot more than relief, because equally as important, please, if somebody's facing a crisis, don't come then and be like, in a couple of months' time. They need help right now. So when it's the right time, the right place, beautiful. But don't confuse the two. And we want to force relief into situations that need restoration. And that's where the hurt occurs.
Speaking of that, I love how well closed that response was. There is this reality when it comes to overly needy people. They are in constant need of something, whether it's your time, whether it's monetary reasons, or whatever, your attention, whatever it may be. And as people, we often give them what they request. But God works so differently. You know what I mean? He doesn't give us what we want. He gives us what we need. Why do you think that's the case?
So the quick answer, because he knows better. The more in-depth answer is because there is a bigger picture. So again, we are limited in our understanding, but sometimes I also think that those limitations are self-imposed because it's convenient. So I don't want to understand because it's going to require more effort. I would rather just give the quick, easy out. When you look beyond what the person is asking, then you're going to see, but hang on, you're asking me for this. This is what you want. A lot of times people will even say, this is what I need. But the reality is that you need something else. And that's going to take wisdom. It's going to take discernment. It's going to take a lot of genuine empathy and love, where you are concerned about the person beyond just that superficial of, I can help you now. So that's the real deal. When we are able, and that's why God doesn't give us often what we want, because God has wisdom, He has discernment, He is very empathetic, He loves us more than what we could ever imagine. So He's got all of the necessary ingredients. So we come along and we say, please, I want this, I want this. It's so short-sighted, it's so self-gratifying, it's so just give it to me now and I'll be happy. It's typical of the child who just wants sweets. And all you've eaten today is sweets. Like, you've had absolutely no healthy food whatsoever. So as a parent, what do? You give them, don't say sweets. You don't give them sweets. It's not sweets. It's not the answer. You give them what they don't want, but what they really need. So God does that with us all the time on all of those different levels. And we can be incredibly grateful for that.
Absolutely, Warren. Listen, relief to overly needy people, and in fact to most people, often means wanting others to come save you from your consequences. So you make all these choices, often not good, but you don't want to bear the consequences. So go out there and request that the next person come in and save you. And as people, we have this want or need, or we feel guilty to come in and to save people from their consequences. And so I love this morning when you said that it's very important for us at times to allow people to suffer the consequences, or to go through the consequences of their choices. Why do you think that consequences are such an important learning tool?
So let's get real about it, okay?
Yes.
Consequences are often not pleasant. So it takes a certain depth of maturity, whether that be personal maturity. So often you'll find that adults or older people, they will just look and they'll just give that sort of like, oh, shame. But they're sort of like, they have the means, they've got the time to help, but they're just like, oh that's very difficult. Shame. Why? Because they have the maturity to know that if I'm going to help you now, it's not what you really need. So yes, it comes with age. It also comes with spiritual maturity in understanding that God sometimes works at a depth that you could never imagine in some of the darkest times of your life. And now you want me to come and take you out of that, to rescue, because it's not pleasant.
True.
And when we get to the scriptures and we look at what they went through, did God do any rescuing? In many cases, it wasn't even consequences because of their poor choices. It was consequences because of their good choices. So they're making a stand for the truth and for the Lord, and they're having to face all of these difficulties. Sure. God doesn't come along and say, oh, shame, guys, I'll take you out. Why? Because that's when your character is really forged, and that's where some of the greatest lessons of life are learned. Now, we come along as these sort of broken savior wannabes, and we're like, oh no, shame, you don't need to go through that. Let me take that away. Let me answer. Let me deal with it. Let me buffer. Let me whatever. So that we've got this sort of like this false savior syndrome type of, I'm going to be the hero type thing. And it's just wrong. So the prayer that third prayer is based around is, Lord, please help us. Help us not to take away those godly consequences. But it is to be there to help. I mean, it's not that you enjoy the person suffering at all, but you know that there's a greater purpose to it. So instead of just trying to whisk you away and remove the consequences completely, it's to help you work through it. And here's the most important thing, is to learn the lessons. So consequences, negative and bad consequences, are painful. They're not pleasant. But wow, if you can learn the lesson from it, you've got something that others don't have. True. And then it's valuable, incredibly valuable.
Listen, wow, we can sit here and talk about overly needy people the whole day, because we all know someone who's overly needy. We've all experienced some form of overly neediness, before. But how important is it for us to understand that we are all in need?
I love this series. Like, I'm super excited about it because we're speaking about those people. Okay, so I've got a couple of things that I like. I like gossiping, but I call it positive gossip. A couple of months back, I did a sermon on it. And positive gossip is when somebody gives you good news, it's be excited to share that. As much as what you would be if it was some juicy news that was damaging or whatever gossip, like there's like some sort of thrill to it. Get excited about positive news and share that enthusiastically with others. It's the same with these needy people. I love it. I love the fact that we box people. So we say, oh, I know some people. Oh, that person, wow, they're needy. Oh, that one is critical. Oh, that one manipulative. Oh, that one. And we box them. Mm-hmm. And we're happy to put them in boxes until we realize we're also in our own box.
Sure.
And that's the beauty of it, is I identify to a certain degree with every single one of these. And that's important, because unless we are able to see, I'm also needy. I might not be overly needy all the time, but there are times where I know there's a boundary and I overstep it, I get it. So I'm not manipulative purposefully all the time, but there are times maybe that I'm going to do something that I think, in every single one. Am I critical? Am I hypocritical? Do I always do? We're all in the same box. And the closer we can get to seeing each other at that same level, there's no somebody's higher and God has greater favor and this one's more important. We're all in that same playing field. And the more we can see that, the more we get to genuinely help each other and point to the true source, the true answer, the true solution, which is the genuine savior. Not all of these pseudo saviors, these wannabes. And it's just say, you know what? I know where you can get help. It's not here, but I know where you can get it. And let's walk together to find that. And that's what I like about it. Yes, we do know people who are overly needy, and perhaps we're looking at more of the extremes, and they do need more assistance, but every single one of us at some point or the other is going to need that help. And that's where, in particular, this series is going to be super exciting.